Hello children. Children, once again welcome to my class. Today we are going to start the new lesson, that is lesson number 12, and the name of the lesson is The Shoemaker. It's an extract. What do you mean by extract? You know that an extract is a part of a book or a novel. This extract is from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. And before going to start the reading and explanation of the lesson, let's talk about Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens was born on 7th February 1812 and died on 9th June 1870 and was a noteworthy author of the 19th century. His novels were appreciated not only for their plots and interesting characters but also because they provided a commentary on the terrible conditions in which young children worked in factories. Now children, let's proceed with the reading and explanation of the lesson. This extract is from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities, a historical novel set in London and Paris at the time of the French Revolution. Dr. Manette is released from the Bastille, the infamous French prison. What do you mean by infamous? Of evil repute French prison. After 18 years. Despite being innocent, he had been imprisoned due to his involvement in a secret concerning an aristocratic French family. Imprisoned means captain prison. When released, he is looked after by a faithful servant, Defarge. This extract focuses on the touching meeting between Dr. Manette and his daughter Lucy when she visits him with Mr. Lorry, an old friend. Lucy discovers that her father, whom she had believed to be dead, is alive but lost to the world. A broad ray of light fell into the garret and showed the workman with an unfinished shoe upon his lap, pausing in his labor. His few common tools and various scraps of leather were at his feet and on his bench. He had a white beard, raggedly cut but not very long, a hollow face, and exceedingly bright eyes. The hollowness and thinness of his face would have caused them to look large under his yet dark eyebrows and his confused white hair, though they had been really otherwise, but they were naturally large and looked unnaturally so. His yellow rags of shirt lay open at the throat and showed his body to be withered and worn. He and his old canvas frock and his loose stockings and all his poor tatters of clothes had, in a long selection from direct light and air, faded down to such a dull uniformity of parchment yellow that it would have been hard to say which was which. He had put up a hand between his eyes, and the light and the very bones of it seemed transparent. So he sat with a steadfastly vacant gaze, pausing in his work. He never looked at the figure before him without first looking down on his side of himself. So children, we have read on page number 75 that the man making shoes works steadily at his bench, aged and weakened by his long years in prison. He seems to be aware only of the task at hand, and that is shoemaking, and does not even know that he has been released from prison. Here we come to know about the physical appearance of Dr. Minette after being released from the infamous French prison. He was alive but lost to the world, means as he was innocent but got the prison, he had a shock and lost his memories. He was looked after by a faithful servant, Defarge. After 18 years of being physically and mentally removed from the world, the doctor has suffered greatly and appears to have lost all sense of time, place, and self. Despite the fact that he is no longer in prison, he still seems buried alive. When you first see him, both his mind and body are hidden from view. Even after some light enters the garret where he works, the doctor looks more dead than alive, with his hollow face, with third body, and a hand so thin that it looks transparent. Now children, let's proceed with the reading of page number 76. Then on that, as if he had lost the habit of associating place with sound, he never spoke without first wondering in this manner and forgetting to speak. "Are you going to finish that pair of shoes today?" asked Defarge, motioning to Mr. Lorry to come forward. "What did you say? Do you mean to finish that pair of shoes today?" "I can't say that I mean to. I suppose so, I don't know." But the question reminded him of his work, and he bent over it again. Mr. Lorry came silently forward, leaving the daughter by the door. When he had stood for a minute or two by the side of Defarge, the shoemaker looked up. He showed no surprise at seeing another figure, but the unsteady fingers of one of his hands strayed to his lips as he looked at it. His lips and his nails were of the same pale lead color. And then the hand dropped to his work, and he once more bent over his shoe. The look and the action had occupied but an instant. "You have a visitor, you see," said Monsieur Defarge. "What did you say? Here is a visitor?" The shoemaker looked up as before, but without removing a hand from his work. Here Dr. Minette sat with a consistently expressionless look, pausing in his work. He never looked at the figure before him, never spoke, and remained busy with his own. Monsieur Defarge, Mr. Lorry, and Dr. Minette's daughter Lucy wanted to have his attention. So Defarge asked 2 questions with him, and he replied formally in limited words. And again he started doing his work by bending down his head again. Mr. Lorry came silently forward, leaving the daughter by the door. When he had stood for a minute or two by the side of Defarge, the shoemaker looked up, but he showed no surprise at seeing another figure. Once more, without any reaction, he bent over his shoes. So children, that's all for today. We will proceed the lesson in the next class. Children, don't forget to take care of yourself. So, take care and stay safe.